Welcome to our State of the City address. First, I do want to thank the city for basically hosting us today. We kind of worked out an arrangement. We wanted them to have the chance to show off the new facility here. But at this point, I really want to kick into our program and the state of the chamber. Many of you that have attended our programs know that we have talked about 500 as our goal for 2008 in terms of our membership. And we did achieve that goal. So we are at 500 members, and we represent within that membership over 26,000 area employees. You'll probably see in the Business Journal coming up, we've been rated 12th largest metro area chamber of commerce for a number of years. And you may say, well, how come we haven't grown? The simple fact is a number of other chambers have merged together and have continued to grow their membership through merger. We're the only chamber that is bigger than us that represents one community in the metro area is Burnsville. And I know we've already talked about putting our sights on them too. So. But as part of that growth, we also measure our effectiveness of our programs, the opportunities we're providing for our members. And one of the key areas we look at is our retention rates. And we had an 88% retention rate in 2008, which ranks maybe one of the highest in the state of Minnesota. And I say that because it reflects back to, are our members satisfied with what we're doing? Are we providing the right programs, the right avenues for them to get out, the right community representation? And retention rate's one of those ways to judge that. If we're not doing our job, we probably see more of our members drop. We do know we lose some move out of Eden Prairie or the area, some merge themselves or go out of business themselves. So we know we're probably never going to hit 100%, but we will continue to work hard for our members. And that's kind of key. We have a great group of members that do a lot of referrals, talk about our ambassadors, but almost all of our committees talk about ways to help our organization grow, provide additional opportunities. So all of our volunteers do a great job, and our staff does a great job in helping to work with our members and plug them in the ways that are help them the most in being successful. Our key focus areas are networking and programs, government affairs, and community building. Last year's attendance at all of our programs combined topped 5,000. And this is from anywhere from our business luncheons, breakfast club programs, noontime networking, after hours, all of our events combined. We do a lot of work on public policy. Our government affairs committee continues to grow. A lot of different opportunities with that group to represent business and work with local officials, whether it's city, state, school district, etc. We've done networking training programs. We'll probably do that again this year to help people become better at networking so that you can kind of prep yourself when you go into a room like this. How am I going to maximize my opportunity, meet the most people I can, exchange business cards, those types of things. Leadership Eden Prairie, which we do every other year, will be kicking off this year, so stay tuned for additional information on that. Our golf outing will be at Bear Path on July 13th, and I know as we announced that, we already had a lot of smiles about getting back out, especially when you compare it to a day like today. Golf sounds pretty good. Business Leaders Roundtable is a group of area businesses, larger-based businesses that we bring together, talk about business issues. Our gala event is our biggest event of the year. We had a great event this past year. Volunteers did a fantastic job. I know Vicki Brown, our chair from last year's here. We just had a great time with Dancing with the Stars theme. We have a couple pictures of that coming up here. Our emerging leaders will be changing names potentially. Uh-oh, I let the cat out of the bag. All right. Possibly, we'll say possibly. We're looking at some different opportunities with this group, the Young Professionals group. We continue to see that grow, and we are offering additional opportunities for those. We would like to see more of our larger-based businesses get some of their young professionals involved with the group, and so you'll see us do a bigger effort in that area for 2009. New Business at Breakfast, still one of our newer programs, even though it's been around about a year, and continues to draw raving reviews from those that are participating. Chamberfest, our member appreciation event, we do once a year. We've done this 3 years now, and each year, for whatever reason, the number is 125. So one of my personal goals is we're going to have over 125 people there this year. E-Squared is our partnership with the Edina Chamber, and we look for opportunities to work not only with the Edina Chamber, but other chambers to, again, provide maximum benefit to our membership. This is pictures from some of our events for the year. This is our Home Landscape and Garden Expo at Grace Church last year. This year's event is slated for March 21st. Last year we had over 100 exhibitors and over 1,400 people turned out to take in the show. We still have exhibit space available, so if you're interested, please let us know and we can get you a good spot, as well as seminars. From Home Depot last year, we had the Zoomobile out there with some furry critters for the kids to have some fun with. And it's just a great opportunity to get out and about before the spring season comes upon us. Our awards program every year, we give out a Volunteer of the Year award, our Golden Apple Awards, working with education, recognizing both businesses that are involved in education, teachers, and projects that the school district is putting together. We give out scholarships, both our post-secondary, our Student Citizenship Award, and our Dr. Jean L. Harris Scholarship Award, which originated with the City of Eden Prairie, and we're continuing that legacy on, recognizing our former mayor. To date, since the inception of our scholarship program, we have given out over $55,000 in scholarships to area students, and each year we give out typically just over $1,000 or $5,000. Last year's Charles DeBono Volunteer of the Year Award recipient was Brian Kelly. Again, congratulations, Brian. Our Golden Apple Award recipients, ADC Telecommunications, Larry Liebens and Mike Savage. Our Small Business Person of the Year was Lois Walters, Gunner Electric. We were fortunate enough to have the governor out again. We had just about 250 people turn out to hear Governor Palente's message back in June. Our Athena Award recipient, which goes to a woman of business, was Jan Ann from Endurant Business Solutions. And this is, the other picture is the number of the previous Athena recipients that were able to join us that day for the luncheon. Some of the top speakers we had last year were Lori Swanson, the Attorney General, Eric the Bike Man, Jeff Hamill, the Executive Director of Metropolitan Airports Commission, and Tom Sorrell, the new MnDOT Commissioner, just a couple months after he got that position. Pictures from Chamberfest every year. This event, again, we recognize and thank our members. We have some great prizes at different levels based on years of membership. We coordinate our business agenda with the Minnesota Chamber in many cases at the state level, and then our Grow Minnesota and business survey initiatives as well. And Grow Minnesota we're one of about 45 chambers throughout the state of Minnesota that participate in this program. It is sponsored by the Minnesota Chamber. It gives our organization a chance to go out and do basically retention visits of area businesses. Last year we visited over 20 area businesses to gather data from them and information. That data is then plugged into a master database with the state chamber, and they are able to track trends and issues that are impacting area businesses. And based off of that, they take a look at what policies and initiatives may need to take place for the state of Minnesota to continue to be the business, I can't say a hot spot, but be successful in the future. Not surprising, taxes always come up, but there's a lot of other issues that have been looked at and addressed, and also new opportunities. The state chamber has looked at education, energy policies, a number of areas that they've gotten a lot of great feedback out of these visits and have been able to move forward with that. We continue to do a lot of partnership work, city and school district here, area businesses, our partner chambers to the west, east, and north of us, and then work with publications locally to help spread the message on the programs and opportunities that we have available. New in 2009, we are starting a human resource roundtable. So this is designed for HR executives or people responsible for HR within their businesses. So if you're interested, please talk to me. We also are kicking off a brown bag lunch series for small businesses. This will be free of charge to our members and be hosted at our conference room. Our first one, I know Martha's Camps is our speaker, is February 5th, I believe. So please join us for those as well. As Dick mentioned, it's our 40th year, so we're going to be planning a 40th summer celebration, so stay tuned for those opportunities. Speed networking is not new, but the bingo piece is. And the reason I have it on this slide is I want to highlight that even though we may do the same programs multiple times, we do look for opportunities to change them up and make them either more fun for our members or the opportunity for them to benefit greater. So speed networking bingo will be a new opportunity for our members to have fun as well as meeting additional business contacts through our organization. And then our China trip in March of this year, we will be journeying through Bremerton Chamber out of Seattle and then off to China. We have 28 people that will be joining us. We are using this opportunity to not only see some of the sites in China, obviously, but we're working on visits with Eden Prairie-based businesses that have facilities in China, as well as continuing to build off the strategic partnership that our school district and city have put together with the city of Lodi. And so we'll be journeying to Lodi as well. And I know Melissa can talk a little bit more about that connection, but the education side has really taken off, and we are pleased to be able to continue to work on that strategic partnership and build that relationship moving forward. And on top of that, maybe one of the programs we're probably most pleased with is our student membership program, now in its third year. We were the first chamber in the nation to put together a student membership program giving high school students the opportunities to be chamber members and attend our programs, meet individuals like yourself, find out more about what you do, find job shadow opportunities, and build their future through our organization. And we limit the program to 20 students every year. Every year we get more than that want to be involved. As we continue to grow, if there's a way that we can include more, we probably will, but 20 seems to be the max that we're able to manage and work effectively with the students. And we, of course, want to thank TDS. They've been our corporate sponsor of this program since its inception, as well as they've helped spread the word and sponsored numerous programs with other districts throughout the metro area, and the program's actually spread beyond the metro area now. So again, we're very pleased with that. And it's a good segue to tie into turning over presentation to our school district. And at this point, I want to introduce and call up our school superintendent, Melissa Kroll.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to start out by telling you that we had almost near perfect attendance by our teachers today. Isn't that great? I heard that this morning and I just thought, oh my gosh, of all the days where weather is such a big topic in the schools, to have near perfect attendance. Yeah, we have three big important things to talk about today with regard to the school district. It's typical for us to talk about recent successes and past successes and current successes, and I'm going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to give you a rather important message about the finances of the district, which I bet won't surprise you very much. And then I would say the most important message today is what's happening with achievement in our district and where are we headed and what's before us, as the work of the district is about making sure that all kids achieve. And so you're going to hear me probably say some things that we haven't said before about what we really have to do in terms of making sure that our district remains the premier and prominent school district in the state of Minnesota that it is. So let me start out by saying a couple things. I do repeat these things, but I'm really proud of them, and I want you to know that as chamber members, you are members of a community and a chamber that supports and works in partnership with a really great school district. You know, so some of the things we talk about are noting the fact that we're the third highest school district in the state with the highest number of National Merit Scholar semifinalists. So it's a really, really prominent honor. We have the highest, third highest number. Sometimes we have the highest number. These are kids that are scoring in the top 0.5% of the country. So to receive this honor is really important, and to be the high school with the third highest number in the state is a very important honor. We have a large high school. We have a terrific pool of students from which to draw, and I think they receive a good education in our district, and that's why we see this. 157 advanced placement scholars. These are kids that are receiving 4 and 5 scores on the advanced placement tests, and we have 150 students have been named as scholars because they've done that well. That's a very, very high number, as high as any high school in the state of Minnesota. Minnesota, as you know, comes in #1 with having the highest average ACT score. We rank in the top 5 every single year of high schools in the state of Minnesota, which means our kids are doing as well as they can possibly do in this country. So that's another great acknowledgement. And the AA Challenge Cup honor is one that our high school principal was given as a representative of the high school, and that's when you have co-curricular activities that are sanctioned and sponsored by the Minnesota High School League, and you have the highest number of post-season tournament finishes of all the activities that are sponsored by the Minnesota High School League. And our high school received the AA Challenge Cup honor this year because we had that many high achievements postseason. It's only one high school receives it. We've received it one other time. We came in second last year or the year before. It's a remarkable honor, and part of the greatness of Eden Prairie Schools has to do with all the things that happen to kids, not only in the classroom, but outside the classroom. You know, all the events and the activities and the athletics and clubs and things that we have available to our students absolutely make a difference in the lives of our students. So, really good news. This continues to be, this record here continues to be a strength for our district, and I don't see us changing this in any way. New for us are the fact that we have some new languages being made available to our students. So now, if you go to school in Eden Prairie Schools, starting in kindergarten, you will always have a second language experience. Our board has set a policy that says we want to make sure that every child graduate with the ability to communicate effectively in 2 languages. End of story. So we're doing that. So now, starting in kindergarten, going through 6th grade, all kids will have the experience with Spanish, and then we've started Chinese starting in grade 7. Also, if you walk into our classrooms now, over 225 whiteboards. We have about 20 student response systems. We have mini laptops now. They're about this big. Have you seen them? Anybody seen these mini laptops? They are just tiny. They'll fit in your purse or your coat. But they're very efficient, and we're going to be using those in our classrooms. We're going to start using them with students. And we've got this remarkable online technology and this software that's allowing kids to interact with each other and their technology and their learning on their iTouch devices. And the teachers are videotaping their technology and they're videotaping their units and putting them on websites, and kids are downloading them, putting them onto their handheld devices. And then they're taking them to the coffee shops, they're taking them home, they're sitting with each other in the commons, and they're really basically taking learning anywhere they go. And it's a remarkable thing that's happening in our classrooms. And these are some of the really good things that are happening that I think you should know about. We're really an energy-conscious school district. We were just recently named as an Energy Star top-performing district. Only 7 districts in the state of Minnesota, and again, just a very important thing to be able to tell you that we're paying attention to our energy efficiency and that we're making good contributions to this environment. And I think that's an important thing for us as a school district to be able to say to you. And then on top of that, I want to say that while doing all of this, we're saving money. So we saved about $600,000 this year and about $2 million over the last 4 years in just energy efficiencies that we know through automation make a difference in our schools and all of our facilities. And then we did some survey work last spring. We tripled the number of people that we asked. Basically, it's just, what do you think of the schools? How satisfied are you? Are you getting what you need? And what we found from all of our constituents is that we had the highest number of positive responses we've ever had in the last 10 years. Now, not every single answer is exactly as we want to see it, but we've got some really good remarks and really good responses that we want to build on. So just to give you a sample of what it is people are saying about our schools and how they feel. So it's unprecedented to be able to say that 98% of the parents feel treated with respect by our staff. That's an important number. That 96% feel welcome when they walk into our schools. That 91% of them are really proud of our schools and that they would give our district an A or a B grade, 82% of them. Those are the kinds of numbers that are not seen very often. We do see them in Eden Prairie. We want to build on those. We want to maintain those Because how people feel when they are in our schools, or how their children, based on how their children are being treated, is, of course, it's a really important benchmark for us, something we watch. However, we know we've got work to do. We've got some work to do. There's some people still feel that we don't have enough technology. I don't know if you remember, but 4 years ago we passed a referendum in this community, and technology was on the ballot, and we received support for the next 10 years to install instructional and operational technology. Some of the things I just spoke with you about are a result of that referendum. Some people still believe that there's more work to do, and that we have we need to even strengthen to a greater degree the use of technology in both the operational and the instructional side. Some people still feel that we've got to do even a better job of preparing kids for work, and I think they're right about that. And some people feel, I'm going to say it differently, only 66% feel that we're doing enough to ensure that the students of color in our district achieve. That number has to go up, and I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. So just gives you a sample of what people are saying about us, how they feel about this district in this community, and I think that's important for you to know. Okay, finances. Let me tell you something. I'm sorry to say, this is not going to be good news. But we are in front of it, and we've got some plans, and we know exactly where we're headed and what we're going to do with it. But this picture here is actually not the most recent set of data. I mean, the recent, when you, of course, listen to the recent state forecast, you all know that in this country and in the state of Minnesota, finances and the economy are challenged. And so this school district, of course, like every other district in the state of Minnesota, we will be experiencing our very own set of challenges because of that. Fortunately, we have had a strong fund balance, and we saw this coming, and so we've been doing some really good planning to be sure that we have a strong fund balance to hold us in times like this right now. So we're in a position right now that we are getting out in front of what we anticipate is a rather significant shortfall by the year 2010-2011. So having time to get ready for this and having time to adjust for it is a good thing. I will tell you that I think this shortfall that I have before you today is probably better than the one that's yet to come. I think this is the good news. So we, of course, will wait to see how things play out during this next legislative session. But this is probably a more positive outcome, and it's going to be a bit worse than this. So we are gearing up to make some adjustments so that we can make sure that we maintain what is required by our board, and that's a 4% fund balance. So our guideline is always to hold at 4% or higher, and when we fall below that, we have to make some adjustments. So two things will happen for us. We will be talking about budget reductions immediately. In fact, we are talking about them immediately. And then going into next year again. And it's quite likely we'll be having a conversation with this community about a referendum next fall. Those are the two places that the district has the ability to generate funds. Either, for now, right now, we're going to, assuming we get no increase, and we're making an assumption about that, we reduce our expenditure, or we look for local support. So more to come on that conversation in the future, but I think it's safe to say that this picture here is probably much more positive than I think it really is going to be. But interestingly enough, and I think you all probably care about this, and that just has to do, so where do we stand with local levy? You know, where does Eden Prairie School District stand in relationship to its peers? Right now, we generate about $1,200 per student in local levy, and we are sort of maxed out. In other words, we generate the amount of money per student through our local taxes that we have the legal authority to generate. So we are at the top. If we were to generate an additional amount of money through a levy or a referendum, we would have to go back to the voters and ask for approval. And so our conversation right now is whether or not we can do that next fall. If we do that, that gives us the ability to generate as much money as the state allows, which is the $1,476. Some districts, as you see, have already done that probably a year ago. We did not do that this fall. Other districts have been grandpersoned in at a higher number, so they sort of have the right to go back to their constituents and ask for more money through local levy than we do. We do not have that right. So for us, we have the ability to go to 1476. With inflation, that number might climb just a little bit. But that's what we have in front of us. So if we have this conversation with the community next fall, it would be about generating what the state allows, which is about 1476. That would generate a little bit. Let's probably generate about $3.5 million, so that $7.2 million you saw as a shortfall would be cut in half. And sometimes it's helpful to let you know what other districts are doing, and if we had the authority or the ability to generate what other districts have the ability to generate, what would that mean for us as a school district? So for example, because Minnetonka has the greatest amount of authority, if Eden Prairie could generate what they can generate with their community, through their community, we would generate about $6 million more for our school district. So, well, some of you might say, thank heavens for that. There's an inequity there that is the most sort of important issue, and that is that some districts just have this ability to generate so much more than others that to level the playing field is really important to a lot of us. And there's a lot of lobbying and going on to create that sort of level playing field so that we're all able to do this together in a way that makes sense. But for today, this is what we live with. But the last thing I just want to talk to you about is achievement. I just, it's really difficult to try to tell a community like Eden Prairie, who has lived with remarkable test results for so long and great, excellent schools, that we need to do better. That is a very complicated message to tell an Eden Prairie community. We have lived with such great accomplishments that to bring a story to you that isn't anything but perfect and great is sometimes not so easy to do. But I have a message for you today that's different than the one that I've given you before. And the message is that we really are, it's a new time in our district and in this community, and the word all kids is becoming the most important word I can come up with. When I think about the nearly 10,000 students that we have in our district, and I look at the results that we have before us in terms of our levels of achievement, I can honestly tell you that not all kids are achieving anymore. Not all kids are getting their best shot. Not all kids are making it in Eden Prairie. And there was a time when 98% of them were, and that number is not true anymore. And it's declining, to tell you the truth. So there's a real sense of urgency to change how we do business, to make sure that all kids get what they need in our district. And I have that job, and we all have that job, to ensure that our kids get what they need to achieve and then enter the workforce ready to go. So when that test result came for, that survey result said that we may not be doing what we can, I'm going to say, yeah, I think that's right. To enter the workforce prepared and ready to go, we've got to change. In the K-12 world, we've got to change what we're doing, because the demographics are changing so much, and the needs are changing so much. So for an example, if you look at this grid, if you go down the left-hand side, you'll see math and reading, and you'll see our schools. And then across the top in the shaded area, you'll see white, black, Latino, Asian, Native American, English language learners, low income, and special education. So if there's a shaded box with an X, it means that that particular subgroup did not make adequate yearly progress this year. And that's the definition in the language that the state gives us to define whether or not we're making the grade. This is the first year that our school district did not make the grade. So Eden Prairie Schools did not make adequate yearly progress. That's the first time I've ever had to say that. And actually, these are the groups of kids that did not make adequate yearly progress. So as a whole, we have some very important work to do. And I'll just tell you that the bar that we had to meet this year, that we didn't meet, goes up again next year. And after that, it's going up again. And so, and we're not the only district with this, but I'll tell you, right now I'm focusing on our district. And so in order for us to wipe these X's off this chart and make this a much more sort of white and bright chart, we have got to change how we do business to make sure that we're hitting all of our kids. And here's how our demographics are looking. I mean, we've really made some rather important changes in the last 5 years. We're plus 400 kids in our district right now for whom English is not their first language. We've about a 40% increase in our students of color and about a 70% increase in low-income kids. But the bottom line is that a lot of our kids are just coming to us with completely different needs, not necessarily worse needs or more complicated needs. They're different. We have the student population we have today is just that much different than they were 20 years ago, and so the practices that we use to hit that 98% 25 years ago, those practices won't apply to this population. We have a new population of kids. But what I do know is that as we make changes and improve how we teach and reach this new kind of student that we have, everybody will do better, including the ones that already are. I'm just sure of it. So we've got some work to do and some changes to make. So we've made a very, very strong commitment that if we intend to maintain the sort of premier nature of our district, which I believe in, that the notion of attending to the needs of all kids is going to be absolutely goal number one for us. And in fact, we've just dedicated one district goal now. So as a district, we ensure high academic achievement for all of the kids in our district. And if we do that, everybody achieves. The district continues to maintain that terrific level and reputation that we have. And I thought, some of you might be thinking, well, what is she talking about? So what changes have to happen, you know? So the most important thing is to affect what happens between a teacher and a child, a teacher and a student. If we can affect that relationship in a positive way, we can make very significant gains in achievement for kids, all the kids. Keeping our teachers in our classroom is turning out to be just such a prominent need for us. That's why today I was so excited when I realized they all came to work today. So good. Such a good thing. But really, the teacher has such an effect on how well kids do. And so we have a job to do, and that is investing in our staff and investing in them in the most current trends and practices to teach effectively and well. And they're teaching effectively and well now, but that has to look new and different now. So we'll bring with us the practices that work, and we'll get rid of the ones that don't, and we'll add the new ones that do. We want to make sure that all of our kids have participation opportunities that are balanced and equal. Are the students really getting into all of our co-curricular activities? Is there balance and equal access to our programs, to our advanced programs? Are we over-identifying in the programs where kids need help? We think yes. We think we need to open up those doors of access for our kids and give them the opportunity to participate and keep the bar high and make sure that all kids can get to that level. And in fact, when we limit the participation and access, kids lose the opportunity to achieve to that level that we know they can. So it behooves us to free up some of those, or remove some of those barriers so more students are involved in some of those more challenging courses. Putting data in the hands of our teachers, telling them exactly how kids are doing every day. A classroom teacher is a wealth of knowledge for a classroom teacher to have classroom data about the 25 to 30 kids that they see every day. If they see that data and they know exactly who's achieving and exactly where they're achieving, what's working, what's not, they can affect their instruction. So we're going to really attend to diversifying the workforce, really creating more balance and hiring more staff of color so that kids of color see staff of color. The research tells us it makes a difference. Kids do better in school. We know this. So I just want to close by saying the Minnesota Chamber has got this down as well. And I'm proud to say that I agree with this statement. The Minnesota Chamber's 2009 legislative platform talks about reducing performance disparities among different demographic groups of students. All students, regardless of background or geography, must meet established standards in order to compete in the workforce. And that's our goal too. So I'm just really happy that the Chamber brings these ideas forward, because as a proud member of the Chamber, the school district has had great results in a partnership with the Chamber, and I think that we together have some great work to do. So I will stop at this point and thank you for your attention and introduce Scott Neal, our friendly city manager.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. I want to just take a minute, too, and welcome you to the Cambria Room. We're pretty proud of this building. This was one of our successes, one of our better successes, I think, in 2008, was opening this newly remodeled community center. And we're very proud of how, not only the project itself, but how the project was put together. Not only did we use money that we had on hand from former taxpayers, and we did a referendum and got authorization to borrow money that future taxpayers will contribute to this, but we also did a partnership with the Hockey Association, which they really took the ball and went out and raised a lot of private dollars that they brought, over $1 million of private donations into this community center project. And we did that by selling a lot of naming rights. And so you are in the Cambria Room. You're surrounded by Cambria. It's on the floor, it's on the walls, it's on the counters. We got a lot of Cambria in this building. And I promised them I'd say Cambria 5 times every time I talked here. So, Cambria. Is there anybody from Cambria here? All right. Well, I always divide my presentation up about the state of the city into 2 halves, looking back and looking forward, and I always start with looking back. One of the successes that we had this year that's an important success, maybe it was a small success in terms of its news value, was a trench rescue. And I'm going to lead with this year because for my team, this was really a great example of how we work together as a team and really what good teamwork can yield. It can save a human life. And so we had representatives from our communications group, our police, our fire, our public works, all worked together and in fact worked with a couple other communities to save a guy's life who was stuck in a trench at a housing site. So we're proud of that. We welcomed a new fire engine, and maybe not everybody celebrates bringing a new vehicle into your organization, but when you pay as much for a fire truck that we pay, they're like part of the family. So this is a fire engine number 11. It's stationed at Station 1, which is adjoining our city hall. We had a record-setting citywide open house in October, and we do this jointly with our police and fire and our street maintenance shop, in our water, and even some of our offices inside our city center. And we had over 3,000 people attend that event this year. We lend our support to the group of cities, especially St. Paul and Minneapolis, that were part of the security effort for the Republican National Convention. We had 14 members of our police department that were part of that security effort. And actually, just earlier this week, we received our payment from the city of St. Paul for our services. So we got a check for a little over $100,000 for the Eden Prairie staff that were part of that effort. So no freebies. We were part of something called a mass dispensing drill with Hennepin County this year, and a mass dispensing drill was meant to simulate how we would react from a public health standpoint if there was some kind of public health emergency in the community. So an illness, a terrorism event, how would we define and how would we put information out to you, and what would we tell you to do? How would we distribute an antidote or some kind of corrective measure to you? And we did a drill where we had people come to the Eden Prairie Center and distributed in a fictitious antidote at that point, and it actually went pretty well. We had a new police dog, Booker, join our force this year. We're happy to have him. One of the bigger events that happened with really not a commensurate amount of fanfare this year was the council approved the new comprehensive guide plan. This is a very important document for the city because it really lays out where we think the city is going to be and what we think it's going to become in the next 10 years. That document's currently at the Metropolitan Council. They get a chance to review it. They may have some corrections, additions, deletions. They'll forward those back to us, and hopefully we'll have a final document by the end of the year. One of the bigger projects and an example of the kind of thing that we think we're going to see more of in Eden Prairie in that 10-year time period is the Windsor Plaza development. This project is just west of the Eden Prairie Center Mall. It's right on Flying Cloud Drive. It replaced some small brick, low-level buildings that were at that same location. This was a nice fall picture of that building. It's considerably closer to being done today, and their target was to have the new business that's moving into most of that building, at least the 2nd through 5th floors. A company called Virtual Radiologic will be moving from Minnetonka to fill most of that building and retail on the ground floor, and so we're excited to have them here. We had some new businesses also that either expanded or changed location here. C.H. Robinson's building a brand new data center right next to their new corporate center south of the airport. Assist Medical was located in the Golden Triangle. They moved to just over here, kind of west of the city center. And Super Value continued to improve the Eastview campus in the Golden Triangle. We welcomed ATK. They moved their corporate headquarters from Edina to Eden Prairie last year, and also Spire Credit Union moved from around the mall area down south on Flying Cloud Drive. There was an airport improvement that took place after many years of discussion and planning. The runway that you see on your left, the dark colored one, was the runway that was expanded from 3,600 feet to 3,900 feet this past year. And in the photo to your right, it doesn't look very exciting. You see a backside of a building and some pipes laying on the ground. That's an exciting project from the city standpoint because It adds a more productive capacity to our water plant this year, and it'll be online later this year. It's in Pheasant Woods Park, just down the street on Mitchell from City Center. We fixed our water tower clocks this year. You know, these are more complicated than they might look. As you might guess, if you stood right up next to them up there, they're pretty large, and they're large mechanical devices. We've had a fire or two associated with these water tower clocks, and it's embarrassing to a water-producing utility when your water tower is on fire. So we fixed that this year, and now they have nice LED lights, and hopefully those will be in good shape for a long time. The Anderson Lake drawdown, this is actually, I make very careful to tell you, this is not a City of Eden Prairie project. This is a 9 Mile Creek Watershed District project. We cooperated with the Watershed District as they took on our mortal enemy, the curly pondweed, and that's it down there in the corner. It's an invasive species. I think a lot of people have heard of it. It's been choking a lot of Minnesota lakes. But one of the characteristics of this particular species is that the DNR and those in charge of this project did not think it could survive a harsh Minnesota winter. And so one of the things that they did was draw down this lake. It exposes the curly pondweed, and they were really hoping that we'd have some freezing temperatures this year. So take that, curly pondweed. The Eden Prairie Community Center, we talked about this, the grand opening in May. We're very proud of this building, and again, the effort of everything it took to make it happen. So if you do have some minutes and you can take a look around, please do, because it's really quite a place. And also some of the other improvements that went along with this. The baseball stadium was new, and the Baseball Association was very involved also in raising money to help build that. The Starring Lake Amphitheater down on Starring Lake, what you see on the left-hand side is you see some nice grass, but you don't see really some kind of weak timbers that were part of that retaining system. We took all of those out this year and put in some concrete, and that'll be beautiful next year. The County Road 4 trail was actually part of this project, even though it goes a little bit north of here to Birch Island Park. That was completed this year. The third rink, which is just on the other side of this wall, was complete. We dedicated in July the Bob Lambert Memorial Park Pavilion, not Memorial, Pavilion. We didn't call it Memorial because he's not dead, right? All right. The Bob Lambert Pavilion at the Purgatory Creek Park. He's very much alive, and on the St. Peter School Board, of all things. I don't know how many of you know Bob knew that, but Bob's a school board member now. And but we were happy to dedicate that for Bob and really recognize his many years of service for Eden Prairie. Another project we were proud of this year for a number of reasons, but was to the Miller Park, at least the phase 1 of the barrier-free playground. This playground has been built and designed to accommodate kids that have some kind of difficulty in mobility typically. Maybe they're in a wheelchair, maybe they use other kinds of ways to get around. But we had a citizen who had a child in that had that issue, went out and raised really over $200,000 and dedicated it to the city, and we helped build this playground. So we're pretty happy with that. We had a record-setting election and quite the recount. This is from an actual Eden Prairie ballot. So are there any election judges in the room today? I don't know how you count that one, but maybe it was Barkley. Maybe. One of the things that we added to our website this year, something we think is very interesting, and we think you will too if you try it, is a service called City Docs, City News, and City TV. This is a piece of what City TV looks like. We web stream all of our meetings, and we have them on our website. So if we have a long agenda and a 2 or 3 hour meeting, which we almost never have, but if we had that, we would put the agenda up on there, and we have the viewing screen on the left-hand side. You can come down that list on the agenda. You can click the thing that you want to see. It takes you right to that part of the video in the meeting, so you don't have to wade through a lot of stuff that you're really not interested in. So we use this a lot just to actually remind us sometimes about what happened at a council meeting, who said what to whom, and that kind of thing. But It's something that's available on our website. Actually, we're filming this event today. We have some of our communications staff are here, and we'll be putting it up on, is that right, Joyce? Joyce? Yes? Yes, Katie, yeah? We're putting it up on here, right? Okay. We dedicated a new Veterans Memorial this year, and again, this is a community effort that went to raise money and fund this. This is in Purgatory Creek Park. It's quite stunning, and we dedicated it on Veterans Day this year. We had the first ever Eden Prairie Polar Plunge this year. This is a charity effort that is led by police departments in the state for the Special Olympics. This was in the middle of March last year, and they're jumping into Round Lake, of all places. We're doing it again this year, too. We have an initiative called the 2040-15 Initiative. This is an energy conservation initiative by the city. The 20 indicates that we want to increase the energy efficiency of our buildings and facilities by 20%, our vehicles by 40%. We want to accomplish both of those goals by 2015. And we were able to do that through a unique program with a partner called McKinstry & Associates this past year. We're involved in phase 1 of the project right now. It's a number of lighting projects, readjusting how we heat and cool our buildings, that sort of thing. But we did about $1.5 million worth of energy conservation projects, and we fund these through the savings that we were able to achieve from the actual projects themselves. So it's a net zero cost to us, and it's important to note that because it's a guaranteed net zero cost to us, because if those energy conservation measures don't actually save enough money to pay the debt service on what we borrowed, the consultant that we hired makes up the difference. So it's really quite a unique program, and it's unique in cities. Schools have been doing this a long time, but not very many cities are doing it. We received a number of awards this year. This was the Presbyterian Homes Redevelopment Project, received a recognition from the Minnesota Association of the American Planning Association for its design. Fire Station 4 received a similar design recognition by Fire Chief Magazine. We've been recognized by the Government Finance Officers Association, Moody's Investor Services, and Sire Technologies for some of the work we've done in document imaging. Firefighter of the Year is Mike Luger. John Wilson is the Police Officer of the Year. And Mike Schmidt and Kevin Snyder are 2 of the top 10 snowplow drivers in the state of Minnesota. And they do this every year. This is what it's called. It's called the Snow Rodeo. They're very good at what they do. In 2009, looking ahead, one of the bigger projects that you may not have heard much about is called the Integrated Public Safety Communications Project. This is a project where we are really trying to take a number of different databases that we have in our police department, fire department, and our 911 center, and we're trying to merge them so that when a police officer or a firefighter or some other city staff member comes up to your house, we know maybe what the situation is. If we had a dangerous dog that was there and that's in a police database, we want our firefighters to be able to know that as well. And right now, they operate kind of separately in separate computer worlds. But this is a system that we're integrating this past year. We made a big purchase of hardware and software this past year, and this is the year to make it all work so that it shows up in the 911 center, hits radios, hits computers in the car, and saves time and energy for us, serves you better, and is more safe for our staff. Inflow and infiltration, I&I, we call that in the public works world. This is an area where we need to do better, and the Met Council has told us that we need to take more of the clean water out of their sanitary sewer system. So clean water that comes from houses or breaks in sewer lines, that sort of thing. We're going to be looking for those sorts of infiltrations into the sanitary sewer system, and we're going to be taking some steps to stop them, to remedy them. And we're doing this because it's important to preserve the treatment capacity in the wastewater treatment plants that the Met Council owns that serve us. And also because if we don't, we're going to be facing some pretty stiff fines from the Metropolitan Council as well. So there's a couple reasons to do that. Pioneer Trail is a big project that is supposed to be launched later this year. It's a county project. We participate in it very closely with them. This is a section that will actually be removed and replaced. It's a couple years, Gene, two-year project? Two-year project roughly from Flying Cloud Drive to just past Eden Prairie Road. So it'll be a design that looks very much like what you see from Flying Cloud Drive east to 169. Another runway improvement, so the runway in this picture that you see on the left, the lighter colored runway, will be extended from 3,900 feet to 5,000 feet, and that's a MAC project, but the city has to cooperate with that one as well. We opened a new liquor store this week, and it's just down the street from here, adjacent to Kowalski's. It's a beautiful new store. It's in the former Snyder Drug location. Whoops. Light rail transit, we continue to work on the light rail transit project that is actually a project by Hennepin County Regional Rail Authority. This shows you roughly the path of that line. That has 10 stations, 5 of them are projected to be in Eden Prairie. Most of this line we are continuing to work with various station sites and also looking at the environmental side of this project as well. We've been working on a streetscape master plan throughout 2008, and we'll be advancing that into 2009 for a council approval. That's the area on the right where this takes place. This is roughly around the mall and what we call the town center area, and then just a picture of what we think that area will look like if these plans are adopted in the future. We have an art center that we received near the end of 2007. We're trying to raise funds for this project. The council approved a small project actually to get the doors open to make sure it's accessible and so on, and we hope to have classes in there in later this spring. Our big challenge, as Melissa noted, is also going to be around budget this year. You know, Eden Prairie has had at least 30, maybe more than 30 years of continuous annual growth in its tax base until this year. So we're in some newly charted waters that we're not sure how to navigate through. We peaked as a community, the taxable property in this community is worth $10 billion in 2008. It's going to drop by about 5% in 2009. We expect it may drop another 4 or 5% in 2010. That's what it looks like right now. One of the things that our council did in response to that this year is to try to prepare our organization to meet that challenge. We could have raised our tax levy this year by 5%. That was kind of our legal cap that the state would have allowed us to increase our tax levy this year. The council instead of doing that, froze our tax levy this year. So we have the same tax levy next year that we had this year, and that gives us some time to prepare for what we think is going to be a notable change in the way that we operate. So we're taking this year as a year to plan for the future. There's opportunities when we do that kind of planning to look at what we've been doing, look how we've been doing it, and that's what we're going to do a lot of actually in 2009. We welcomed 2 seasoned council members back to our council just earlier this month. Councilmember Aho, who is here today, and Councilmember Case, who served quite a bit in the early 2000s and even some in the 1990s. And finally, this is our city council. This is the portrait. They're brand new council that will just started serving about a week and a half ago. We have a good group here, a good group that listens to the community and is able to kind of coalesce and give good direction to staff for the future in 2009. So we're optimistic in that regard. And that is the state of the city for 2008 and 2009. It's very good. There are challenges, I know, for all 3 of us, for the city, the school, and the business community, but we've got a good group here. We've met those challenges before, and we'll meet them again. So thank you.